What's up, everybody? This is Josh coming to you with another episode of the Affiliate Marketing Show. Please be sure to like, follow, and subscribe to stay up to date on all the latest affiliate marketing news, tips, and trends. If you're not hip to OfferVault.com, make sure you check it out. We got everything you need from networks, offers, affiliate programs. When it comes to your success in the affiliate marketing space, OfferVault.com has you covered. Another big shout out goes over to our friends at Pinup Partners sponsoring this episode once again. And as you know, if you're an iGaming enthusiast, then we have some exciting news you don't want to miss. Our friends at Pinup Partner are turning 8 years old, and to celebrate this incredible milestone, they're launching one of the most epic promotions the iGaming market has ever seen. With over 500 prizes, hundreds of challenges, and a prize pool worth hundreds of thousands of dollars, this contest is going to be massive. Whether you're a seasoned affiliate or just getting started, there's something for everyone. The promotion kicks off now and runs all the way until December, broken down into 3 exciting stages. Affiliates and partners can dive into daily challenges, score instant rewards, and of course, enter into the grand prize drawings. And when we say grand, you guys know we're talking big. We're talking a luxury car and an exclusive party in the Alps. So do you want in on the action? It's super simple. Just sign up with their chat bot by clicking the link in the description, and make sure you follow the competition guidelines to start racking up those entries. Don't miss out on this epic celebration celebrating Pinup Partners' 8th anniversary. You could be the one walking away with some serious prizes. Good luck, and may the odds be in your favor. We also have Mr. Paper Call, Adam Young, and I believe he's still the Jet Poppy and the industry legend Harrison Gevirtz, plus our special guest today, Dayu Yang, CEO of Ecom Ops, a company that helps businesses streamline their entire supply chain, leveraging direct from China order fulfillment to add inventory flexibility and less cash flow risk. What's up, Dayu? How you doing today?
Hey Josh, great to be here, Josh. And I want to be part of that sweepstakes, by the way. So let me know I can join. I want to be in the Alps as well. But great to be here. Thanks for having me.
100%, man.
Josh Harrison is for sure still the Jet Poppy. There is no question about it. I'm pretty sure I needed one this weekend, and Harrison came through immediately on a couple hours' notice.
Yeah, I see you were not in Vegas, and then all of a sudden you were in Vegas, and more notably in a nightclub. So you must have been feeling like having a different experience, because that Adam does not do often.
Well, I thought it was appropriate to have a mastermind in the middle of the dance floor at a Zed concert. It
Oh.
just seemed appropriate. We talked a lot of business. It was good. People tried to come be friends with us, Josh, and like join us at our booth, but we had them removed. So it was an exclusive mastermind
I don't think
event.
you were not inclusive to guests.
No. And I also didn't drink, but I had a great time. It was good. If you
Awesome.
need, call Harrison.
If you need a jet, call
Gotcha.
Harrison or
All right.
contact Josh at OfferVault so I can get that commission on the jet rental. So
I like the hustle. I respect it. I'll pay it.
Dayu, we're gonna do a deep dive into DTC fulfillment from China, which I know is your expertise. Real quick, because I don't want to get off that topic once we get on it. Adam, can you tell us a little bit about the keynote at Contact.io? I know that's some real good info that you got for our users that would definitely want to hear about it.
Yeah, so I've actually been hanging out in La Jolla. That's where I'm at right now, working on the keynote for Contact.io. And I'm giving a presentation on the art of entrepreneurial resilience. And in our industry, there's a lot of entrepreneurs, and there's just so much you have to deal with as an entrepreneur. It can be overwhelming. And I have, just like Harrison, actually, I've never really had a job. I've always been an entrepreneur. And so I've been doing this for my entire adult life. And I've had to deal with so many incredible situations and just really painful hardships throughout my career that I've developed a lot of frameworks and tools to help me get through those things and come out on the other side stronger and more successful than before. And so I'll be presenting some of those tools that I've developed and used over the years to help entrepreneurs navigate through really challenging situations as they try to grow their businesses. And entrepreneurship is really a challenging thing. I think it's something like 95% of all businesses that start fail within the first couple years, and the ones that do succeed end up failing in the next couple years. And so, it's really complicated to be a successful entrepreneur. And part of that is that no one really teaches what it takes to overcome the real challenges and the suffering that comes with being an entrepreneur. So I'm really excited about doing that. For our audience, Harrison and I founded Ringba. It's a bootstrapped company. We had no outside investment. It's a SaaS company. And so to build a company like that and make it successful is a really hard thing to do. I'm super proud of that. And Ringba is like in the 0.01% of SaaS companies. Most of them are not bootstrapped. Most of them don't ever make it. And throughout that, we have bared an incredible amount of pain and suffering to make it happen. And I feel like it's super important for me to go up there on stage and share with people how we managed to push through all of that. And so I'm really excited about presenting this. I'm actually a little bit scared because it's really gonna fucking hurt to talk about some of this stuff publicly. But if I get to one person in the room and help them make their future better, I'll be happy about it. And so, it's going to be intense, bro. So if anyone listening is going to contact.io, I really recommend coming to this. I guarantee you, if you come to my keynote, you will not leave the same person, and you will be better equipped to overcome any challenge in your life going forward.
Yeah, I mean, speaking about getting up on stage, Dayu, I'm going to hand it back to you. I know you're speaking at Affiliate World Budapest coming up, and we'll dive into that in a little bit, what topics you're covering. First, I'm really excited to have you on the show here. We haven't really had someone who is an expert in, D2C fulfillment, especially when it comes, to being from China specifically. So I think this is going to be a really interesting episode. Before we get into any specifics, can you kind of give us like a bird's eye view about D2C fulfillment from China in terms of in your opinion, when did it really become a thing, and how has it kind of evolved from that time to where we are today?
Yeah, so actually, I really jived with what Adam was saying about how difficult it is to start a business. I kind of come from the opposite. I actually started with the job of all jobs. I used to be a consultant, a strategy consultant for large corporations. But I learned a lot from that. But even from that, starting a new business was hard. So how we got into direct from China fulfillment was I actually started in building a more traditional brand. So I started a IoT smart toy device. We actually got on Shark Tank and actually walked away with a deal with that. It's called Pillar Learning, by the way. And that was not direct fulfillment from China. So I'm kind of that was the hard way of doing things. We had to get fundraising. We were sending stuff on containers. We were facing inventory issues. And I was like, okay, so I was struggling and I was trying to figure out well, our marketing agency we didn't really like. So we kind of fired them. I was like, okay, I'm gonna just market this myself. Doesn't seem that difficult. So I looked at YouTube, and that's when I found out about drop shipping. Those were the days where like everyone was drop shipping from like AliExpress, right? That was before like, I mean, it was the golden ages. Like everyone was scaling. Like these kids supposedly making $1 million, right? And making YouTube videos about it. I actually started some of my own dropshipping stores back in the day and got up to like $1,000, $2,000 of revenue per day. And I was like, this is so much easier than starting my own brand. And then I got my first sample of my own product and it sucked. I was like, what the fuck am I doing here? Like, I went to college, I got an MBA, I started a great business, and now I'm just selling crap, right? However, I was like, wait a minute, shipping from China actually kind of works, right? So I was like, given what I know, you could separate out bad quality products. I mean, one of the issues of that more traditional dropshipping model, especially from AliExpress, is that you just have no control. Like, and there was always that pressure, that viewpoint that you want to be cheaper than your competition, right? And that usually means lower quality, right? But when you separate that out, and that was my vision, okay, like drop shipping sucks, but shipping from China to your consumers around the world, that opens a lot of possibility. And I realized that you can actually ship to consumers around the world for as fast as like 5 to 7 days in most of the major markets. And actually dropshippers didn't realize that because like it's always a lot slower because like there's that initial part of like that AliExpress supplier like buying the product and then sending it out, and that adds like 5 days, right? But if you just focus on the shipping, then it's actually very efficient and very quick. And from drop shipping, more and more logistics companies started being aware that, hey, there is this huge demand of consumers willing to receive parcels from businesses at first in China, but then they realized that there's actually other businesses who have this need. So that was when I started Ecom Ops. When we're working with these more innovative courier lines, more efficient courier lines, and we were able to offer our clients. So at the time, it was former dropshippers who actually wanted to start to build a better brand, who wanted to control their own products, but still want to ship from China. And then more and more, especially recently, more traditional brands that never shipped from China in the first place realize, hey, this is actually a way for us to access more markets quicker, to hold less inventory, and just ship directly to consumers. And a big part of that actually was because everyone here probably knows Shein, right? Shein was kind of like the big change in the market. A lot of folks who weren't used to China fulfillment, they used to think that China shipping sucks. Then Shein came along and they just dominated fast fashion. They started shipping around the world. They shipped to like 100 countries and they're fast enough. And then people are realizing, wow, okay, it's actually fast enough. If you know what you're doing, customers will actually buy and rebuy. And that's where we are today, where more and more even traditional brands who never considered China fulfillment are adding China fulfillment to customers as a big part of the supply chain model.
It's funny you mentioned the shipping because I was literally going to ask you like 8 to 10 years ago, I did a bunch of business. I sold phone accessories. And it was more like 12 years ago. Shit, I'm getting old.
Yeah.
And, I definitely dabbled in drop shipping, but a lot of what I did was taking on inventory because
Yeah.
those like express pack or whatever it's called, like the shipping that's for one or two items would take 3 weeks, 4 weeks, and customers
Mhm.
would just get super pissed. So literally my first question with you or for you was you kind of answered it like the shipping issue isn't the same. So like correct me if I'm wrong, but something like a large pallet of goods for tons of customers or consumers gets thrown on a pallet on a plane, and then it arrives in America, and then it's like sent USPS in the US or something like that, right? That's kind of how the model works. Or how are they able to do it and not make it take 2 months for customers, I guess?
So how it worked before, and I think you're talking about ePacket. It's
Yeah,
what it's
that's the
called.
old way.
Yeah, that's the old way. So basically what that was China Post, basically China's USPS. You start there, and then China Post has a relationship with USPS and all global equivalents to say that the local post office will accept packages and then they inject into the system. However, they have no control what's in the middle. So what happened before was that China Post just like sends it on a plane and then no one knows what happens, right? And then
Yeah,
it
there
shows up.
wasn't even really tracking
Yeah,
once
and
it
then it
got on the
shows
plane.
up. And then there has to be like Chinese in the package because like it has to go through the Chinese system first, right? So that was the inefficiency. It worked, but it was not fast enough, especially for American consumers. Now, the what how it's working today is actually we've seen packages get to the UK in as fast as 2.5 days. And like,
Oh wow.
why? So it doesn't go on a pallet. So this is the key, is that a warehouse like ours, we actually package every single parcel, every single order, and we actually put the label on it. And then we send, so right now we're doing maybe 15,000 orders per day. Uh, our logistics partner picks that all up in big batches. So not pallets, but there's big batches of individual parcels. Okay. They organize the air freight. They clear customs on a parcel basis on the way. When the plane lands, they direct inject into the local, let's say, Royal Mail for the UK, right? So how does it take 2.5 days? And by the way, that's like occasionally, right? Our warehouse in Shenzhen, it takes like 2 hours for a truck from Shenzhen to Hong Kong airport to the UK, what is like a 10-hour flight, gets to the UK. UK shipping is very fast. So there's basically no reason why it needs to take 3 weeks. And the model right now is how do you squeeze as much efficiency as possible? How do you squeeze out as much inefficiency as possible in that dead space between? And this is where our courier partners, they have full control of the chain, which adds efficiency, and also it has step-by-step tracking. Like you actually know when it's on a truck, when it arrives in Hong Kong, when it arrives in the UK, and everything down the line.
You mentioned the warehouses, a lot of the packaging occurs. Just popped into my head. I'm curious, like how much of it is automated with robots and machinery, and how much of it is human?
Yeah. So I have a strong view about where robotics is useful in logistics and where it isn't. Amazon FBA is their efficiency is all about automation. It works for them because they're a black box. Anyone who's worked with FBA knows they're a pain in the ass to onboard inventory, but for a good reason, is because you send to it within their system and then they use their algorithms to allocate that inventory and they have full control and know exactly where that is. And they use algorithms, robotics then to optimize that supply chain. For most brands, though, that doesn't actually make sense because most brands are not going to be okay with like a 1 week, 2 week inventory onboarding period, which sometimes Amazon FBA does, right? And then at least the brands that we work with and the brands that I think it's better suited for China fulfillment, typically it's very different than Amazon, which is like just generally speaking, like a lot of products, a lot of SKUs, right? A long tail of products. Our clients, at least that we focus on, they typically focus on more narrow SKU selection. They scale up way bigger on a particular product. And the most efficient way to do that, by the way, is it sounds kind of backwards, but it's faster. Just get a big table, get all the products like just on the table and just have a circle of fulfillment workers just pack it rapidly because it's the same product or the same product and a couple of upsells anyways, right? So we've actually did some analysis, but really for this kind of fulfillment, that is the fastest way of doing things.
Talked about a bunch of the benefits. On the flip side, what are some of the biggest challenges when it comes to D2C fulfillment from China? And also curious, like, are there any specific countries that are consistently more difficult than others to work with based on their system when it comes to post and parcel?
So one of the biggest challenges, or I guess more risks of shipping from China is there are endless options of shipping lines coming from China. And there's more every day because like these companies are realizing, hey, people want to ship from China. And most of them are crap. Most of them are not good. Most of them are not consistent. Or you have like ePacket, for example. So one of the most important things is actually identifying the right couriers to work with, the right like warehouses to work with that know what the right lines are. And those are the only ones that are cost efficient and speed efficient as well. In terms of countries, here's another downside is technically you can ship to literally every single country in the world. However, this more optimized shipping line, I would say that you're really going to see that in maybe 50, 60 countries or so. And the best lines are going to be the top like 30, 40 countries. But when I say top, like literally top 40 e-commerce markets anyways, right? There's not going to be a great way to ship to South Sudan. But I don't think South Sudan is really a top e-commerce market anyways, right? So, and as we
If
all
any
talk about,
affiliates
yeah.
figure out South Sudan, please, I'd love to do. I want to know. Like, I want to see. Hit me up. If that's your
Are you
market.
Yeah.
sure? I mean,
Uh,
there's literally a DHL office in North Korea, so I think the affiliate opportunity is bigger than we think.
Yeah, well, so anyways, the flip side of that though is that if a market suddenly starts to blow up, like in terms of at least like D2C e-commerce, then it just creates the opportunity for courier companies to open up that market, right? And when I mean open up, it does require some investment on their part because they have to book regular air freight in order for that even to make sense to get that consistency.
So let's take a left turn here. Big Shark Tank fan. And I'm just like wondering what real quick, what was that experience like? Were you kind of freaking out? Were you guys prepared? How did it go? What are like some of the things you don't see on TV? Like give us the inside scoop.
It was surreal, actually. At first, we thought we were scammed. Actually, where they were trying to scam us. So we were at CES in Vegas, showcasing our product, and these a lady and a guy, they were wearing like Shark Tank t-shirts. Like, hey, you guys want to be on Shark Tank? Sign up. And I was like, okay, we'll sign up. And I was like, and they gave us their emails, and there were Gmail accounts. And then okay, all right. And then it's like,
They're
okay,
like,
more
send
and
the
more.
Bitcoin here, and you'll be on next week. You're like, what?
Yeah, so and then we went back and forth, and like every week or so, it's like, oh, you're moving on to the next round because like we're telling about our story, and then eventually they were like, hey, we're gonna like fly you out to LA at this date. We're gonna spend these next couple months preparing with you, and we're like, okay, well, I guess it's actually real. They booked the hotels and everything, and then there was a lot of prep actually, but it was all real. I mean, it was all them helping us craft the best story for ourselves, right? Because I mean, like good stories make good TV, bad stories make terrible TV, anyways, right? Now one very surprising thing was that like the camera, like very far away from the sharks. I mean, I guess to kind of create like, yeah, it just feels like we're talking like from across like a state, like an auditorium or something like that, But I guess, that's because of the camera angles. So that was a little bit weird because it felt less like a conversation, and definitely more like this weird pitch where like these guys are far away. And then also there was a lot that they cut out. I mean, the entire pitch was like 40, 50 minutes or
I
so. And
was I was gonna
yeah.
ask. I've heard. I forget someone actually. It was a guy named Maury. He sold like a Hanukkah Christmas tree topper on Shark Tank. True story. And he told me like that they talked and pitched and asked questions and answered questions for like a long time. Like when you watch Shark Tank, they'll do three or four like businesses or products in one episode. He's like, dude, we talked to these people for like an hour or something,
Yeah,
and then
yeah.
they cut. Is that real? That's kind of how
Oh,
it was. So
totally real, totally real. It was close to an hour probably. It felt longer though, but it was probably an hour or so.
you're like
Yeah.
dripping in sweat, lights shining. Yeah, it's probably a pretty
Yeah.
cool but stressful
But,
thing.
but it was cool though. I mean, they're all very intelligent. It was like rapid fire conversations or speaking over each other as well. So that's probably also why they had to edit it. So it was quite intense, But we were prepared
What
for it,
was your
and
product on Shark Tank?
so it was a smart toy called Cody. That was back in the day when like everyone thought that like smart robotics products would like start ruling the world. It didn't, right? So we got the deal, but then like the market just wasn't right, But hey, I do consider it a success, and being on TV was cool.
So that's
Unexpected.
my next question. I've been told that like when you finish an episode and you get a deal, so to speak,
Uh-huh.
it's not like they write you a check right there.
No,
Then it's
no.
like
I
they do
mean,
due diligence and it takes months, and a lot of those
yeah.
deals don't happen. Is that true?
Yeah, so I can't disclose exactly what happened, but that is very true. That is very true. There was also a hiccup because after we filmed it, like literally COVID happened. And
Ooh.
yeah, so there was a hiccup there. But I can't disclose more than that, but yes, that is true.
Do they do anything to make you uncomfortable when you go out there or try to stoke, like the emotional reaction that might be good TV?
Yes, for sure, for sure. Like they're definitely like, I mean, thankfully, I would like to think that we had thick skin, but yeah, they came at us. They came at us. Like, on the one hand, so the other two co-founders and I, like, we all went to Stanford, and like they were trying to make fun of that and stuff like that. So it was yeah, they were just trying to like dig, but I think that we stood up for it. Yeah.
That's cool. That would be fun. I used to run the technology committee for the largest angel investment group in the country.
Hmm.
And we used to have entrepreneurs pitch. It wasn't like Shark Tank,
Hmm.
but I'm curious, did they really dive into the specific around your business model and
Yep.
go under the hood? Because a lot of those types of questions that we would ask when we had entrepreneurs pitching us, they don't that type of thing doesn't end up on Shark Tank because I think the average person doesn't resonate with it. But I'm curious if they actually really go deep when you pitch them, if it's
Yeah.
like a really serious thing.
Yep. So, well, that's probably part of the reason there's always that real due diligence process afterwards, because it definitely does not get to that level of at least like the financial debt that you usually expect during a pitch. Pretty high level stuff. Hey, what are your, revenue numbers? Yeah, just like
What
stuff
stores are
that,
you in? What's your plan? Tell us your story. Who are
yeah,
you? That
exactly.
I've probably
Exactly.
watched a couple hundred episodes. So
Yeah, yeah. So I mean, just search for my name, Cody COD.
I already found it, dude. I was watching it during this episode. Yeah, I'm gonna watch it for real after though.
yeah,
We'll
I
put
think I
we'll
have it
throw a
too.
link in the description of the video here for all you guys watching right now.
Well, it was interesting. So then but that was actually what created one of these pain points that made me realize the value of China fulfillment as well. Because literally after that episode aired, we got like 800 orders, like just
Mm.
overnight, right? We were using Shopify, that satisfying like Shopify ding 800 times. It was great. And then we're like, oh crap, we're gonna run out of stuff. We're gonna run out of inventory. It was right before Christmas. So we had to air freight what was, I mean, the product was like 2 kilograms. So like we were out of inventory in our warehouse in the US. We had to air freight, and the air freight itself cost like it was like $12 per unit, which is crazy, right? That was again before I realized that we could just ship from China anyways, right? So that was kind of like one of the reasons why I realized that hey, there can be a lot of pain when you're facing inventory crunches if you have to get your goods to the US or a local warehouse.
Hmm, that's interesting.
So, Dayu, I want to bring it back to your topic for AWE Budapest coming up. Anyone who's listening, make sure you check that out if you're going to the conference. I know it's kind of centered around a case study where Ecom Ops launched a creator-led skincare brand to global markets. So, I know you probably don't want to give your whole presentation away on this episode, but I'd love to know some of the most important takeaways that you could share with our audience that, could kind of benefit them in their future endeavors in this industry.
Yeah, sure. One of the my favorite parts of my about my job at EcommOps is that I get to work with so many different kinds of clients, so many different kinds of products, and it happens that one of them is a Thai influencer. She's like a 43-year-old Thai influencer, and she looks very young. And she came to us with this idea of this Thai body scrub. It's like a skincare product. It's like a whitening, brightening scrub product, right? And basically, she was like, "Hey, I'm an influencer." I was like, "Oh, wow, you are. You have like 500,000 like followers and all Thai and like all kind of like high-end audience." And she was like, "Well, actually, what she was trying to do was there was this body scrub that was made in Thailand, and she was trying to say, can you import it into China so we can ship it around the world?" And then, so that's a bad idea. Don't ever import stuff into China, by the way. Like for some reason, it's very, very difficult. But I was like, wait a minute. Some of the best skincare factories, which if you guys don't know, are actually based in China. Um, and actually, I mean, I think that a lot of the audience here is probably running traffic to brands, skincare brands, beauty brands that are actually produced in some of these factories in China. I can't share more, but we actually work with the same factory that I know a couple of these brands. But some other well-known brands, Estee Lauder, Dior, Fenty, like the same. factory that produces for them. So I was like, look, let's just produce this, but make it better, make it even more premium, and like launch it as a premium brand. And because she's a creator, like she has that trust. So in these days, like skincare, any kind of beauty that like first of all, huge opportunity. Consumables, the female market is willing to spend a lot of money, and there can be tons of margin, but it's all about branding, right? However, and this is actually why like creator-led brands have been blowing up. Some more obvious ones, like you have Kylie Jenner's brand, you have Fenty by Rihanna, right? The reason why they've been blowing up is because, well, they're the brand. Like they're the trust. They're the reason why they can sell lipstick for like $20 that probably costs like $1 to make, which is literally probably true, right? So that's the background of this. And because it was developed in China, we got the first like 10,000 unit batch like a few months ago. And the normal process would be, okay, shipping to the US, shipping to Thailand, wherever, right? However, I was like, look, let's just ship directly from China to your audience around the world. And there's some meaning to that as well. Because she is a Thai influencer, we actually realized that she actually has a fan base around the world. So like the Thai female audience around the globe. So because she was able to actually just ship from China, she was actually able to do a pre-order campaign a month before it was even done. And then after it was done, within 2 days, we were able to ship orders to 15 countries, just like that. And because like, and you know, it's especially if you have a brand. I mean, I'm trying to find comparisons to like a non-creator-led skincare brand, right? But this applies to usual brands as well. There's a lot of brands out there. You are based in the US and you are trying to figure out the complexities of, okay, opening up the Australian market, UK market, the EU market, for example. Like, well, without being able to ship from China, it's way too expensive to ship from the US to the UK even, right? And then, but if your inventory is in China anyways, it's like, why not? Right? And then now you have to localize to really scale, right? Like you have to like have like a German funnel if you want to really hit up Germany. However, what a lot of our clients have found, because I was like, look, like especially if you have a brand, you have a social media presence, like why don't you just like add those countries, even with your English ads, and kind of just see what happens? And you can ship there anyways, right? And then actually quite a few of our clients are like, you know what? Like, let me just try it. And then immediately they start getting sales. It's probably also because like I'm sure you guys might be more aware these days, like just the way that the Facebook or Meta algorithm works these days is that like it's actually better at kind of finding you the right audience. Like if you have an English ad targeting like Germany, like they're actually going to find you like the right audience that actually understands and is going to buy from an English ad, for example, right? So actually in that way, like localization is still the end game, but like you don't need to do that necessarily to enter a market.
That strategy is actually a brilliant strategy. And for our listeners that are or people that are watching right now, I can't stress enough how incredible it is when you engage in that type of prospecting because you will learn things that you never thought possible. And very few people, a very low percentage of marketers, are going to do that kind of thing because it seems counterintuitive. And therefore, that means there's less competition and people don't understand the value in doing it. And I'll give you a really good example. We've talked about this before, but Harrison and I ran software advertisements to places around the world where there were US military bases. And we ran other types of campaigns to
We
places around the
targeted
world.
user agent is English, so if you know you my other concept, and people thought I was so dumb when I told ad networks this, but they let me do it, was like if I, Harrison, happened to be chilling in Taiwan right now or wherever, and I'm on my computer, but I have an English user agent. What I tried to do is convince American, like an English US user agent. I tried to convince like lead gen advertisers to let me run their offers. That didn't really work because they're like, we want US IPs for leads. Like, we don't want to get, screwed, whatever. That's fine. But we had like downloadable products and other like ecom stuff where they're like, sure. And surprisingly, like people made purchases and shipped it to the US, for example. And, I've said this a couple times. If you can find an offer that works in Trinidad and Tobago, you will sign up the whole country in like 2 months, but the ROI is going to be like 1100%. So just a tip. I'm just saying, if you can figure out Trinidad and Tobago, there's only like 11 potential leads, but it's a good one.
Dayu,
Yeah, I
you
mean, we ran
go ahead.
software ads and ads to like Iraq because of the U.S. military presence there at the time, or
Military
Saudi
industrial complex got us some
Arabia.
downloads, baby.
Yeah, exactly. And so like just what you're saying here is so important to new affiliates and just affiliates in general, that trying to find areas where you can test and make money where literally no one else is trying is
Hmm.
how you can find huge wins. And 9 times out of 10, it's going to fail, but it's like drilling for oil. You drill and drill and drill, nothing, 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 lose money, spend money, and then all of a sudden, just like cash rains
Yep,
from
yep.
the ceiling. So I
On some of those
And,
weird countries we picked, we had the opportunity to take a CPA or a rev share, and the CPA was like 36 cents or something, like nothing, a couple dollars or $10 in the US. And he's like, we'll give you a couple quarters in these weird international countries. And but then one company was like, we'll give you a rev share, we'll give you 80/20. And we tried it,
yeah.
and the effective LTV from these customers was like in the dollars. And I was like, I don't think they even know that they were just screwing us on the CPA, and it's because no one wanted to run this shit. So they're like, we're just gonna not pay a lot. We don't want to deal with this. And then when they realized, they're like, we'll give you a higher CPA, and I was like, oh,
yeah, I mean, hey, one of the things that I've definitely learned in this industry, like just kind of seeing what our clients do, is that basically, like I mean, the ones that really blow up are the ones that are just doing something new, or doing something that works but differently, right? Like I'll just be honest, like I just typically never really see anyone like just follow the trend, and I mean, they might catch the end of it, but then that's exactly what kind of leads to that, like. And you see this a lot in drop shipping, like especially back in the day. Like, okay, like just try to catch the end of a trend, sell for a couple months, and then move on to the next thing and the next thing, the next thing. And the same goes for marketing strategies, for location strategies, and probably like, probably most things in how you think about marketing and scaling of your business as well.
I really like what Peter Thiel says about competition, and that is that competition is for losers.
Yeah,
And so,
yes.
like, Harrison and I would always look at a market or a campaign and say, are people running this? Because if they are, we weren't really interested. Our biggest wins were taking campaigns to places, or generating new campaigns that other people weren't really present in, and then absolutely dominating that market. And so I think that,
you just reminded me, Adam, of my biggest regret of a campaign we didn't run, and
oh no.
it was the gun owner's insurance policy.
Oh, yeah. Well, look,
Dude,
that
like,
was fair
just
though,
think about it. Like,
Harrison.
people need insurance. I don't see anyone running that shit. We should have run that
They
shit.
they wouldn't give us a LTV rev share.
Oh,
And
you're right.
so
They were like, we'll give you
that's
$10 per
why.
sale. We're like, dude, people keep this forever. Come on.
Yeah, that's why. That's another interesting point you bring up there. That would have been an incredible campaign where we could have made a lot of money. But when we talked to the owner of the company, I remember it explicitly. We were like at the beginnings of Ringba, and I said to him, listen, we're building our software company. We don't need to run your campaign. I have no doubt we could absolutely destroy it. But if you're not going to give us a rev share, we're not going to invest our energy into growing your business. And while that probably allowed us to focus more on Ringba, and we didn't make a bunch of money on that campaign, it probably cost the owner of that business tens or hundreds of millions of dollars by not working with us. And so I think that once you establish yourself as an affiliate, you need to really value your time and look for real partnerships as opposed to just campaigns you can run, because that's how you build a business that has value. And I don't think a lot of affiliates think that way. And so I feel you, H, but I don't regret telling the guy no, because
It would have been a
we
fun one,
wouldn't
though.
have had any, long-term value in that. It would have just been, we make a little bit of money for a period of time. But to business owners out there that are looking for affiliates, when affiliates come to you or are introduced to you and they can run a lot of volume and they ask you for a rev share, oh my God, that's the exact type of affiliate that you want. You want the affiliate that's willing to accept all the financial risk.
If someone's willing to
but
take a
wants-
risk and they're paying for
Yeah.
traffic, dude, even if you make a little bit less margin, think about it. You don't have any like risk. Like it's not like you're paying for something at $40 CPA and you got to wait 3 months to make your money back and you could get burned. You can't get burned.
Yeah, and actually, so LTV is so important, and I think that probably like affiliate traffic marketers, like dropshippers, especially back in the day, like they tend to get stuck a little bit too much on like that simple like ROAS in the first purchase, right? Like trying to be profitable in the first purchase. And that's obviously ideal, right? But I come from I come from traditional industries where it's all about that LTV, where it's like you are happy with like a 3 month payback period, 6 month payback. Actually, before I got into e-commerce, I was a product manager making mobile games, free to play mobile games. So that's like the perfect example. Like you would probably pay like $3, $4 to acquire a player, free to play. And then like you figure out how to monetize off of them, their LTV is going to be $15 over like, 6 months. And that's how they make it back on the back end, right? And the same thing applies to a brand and any affiliates out there, because I know that more and more affiliates are realizing that there is value in starting a brand. But when you start a brand, like you really want to think about how do you optimize for that LTV? And how do you like get repeat purchases? I'll give you guys some stats. So like in skincare, for example, AOV is like $70. Average like CPA is like $60 or so, right? However, average LTV for a skincare brand is like $175. So that's how they make it back. And then what's crazy is that average LTV for a full range beauty brand, so like something like Estee Lauder, for example, like they have like a lot of categories, it's like $600, $700. So like that's where you make it back. Now that's skincare. Obviously, you have that consumable element, so it's a little bit different. However, we see it in our clients that sell consumer products as well. You make a great product, you make great products, you build that connection with your brand. And a brand is not just like it's not just a logo, it's not just like creative assets, right? A brand is like every interaction with your customer, the relationship that your customer has with you. I mean, I'm sure you guys like, oh wait, like Apple. I probably spent like $8,000 buying iPhones like over the last 10 years, right? Not because they market to me, but because like I like iPhones, right? And like, there is a
If
relationship
it's
that I
8 grand,
have.
you got off easy, bro.
Well, I mean, there's phones, just phones though. I mean, I'm not even counting all the other
Yeah,
stuff.
that's right. Exactly. Yeah, you got off easy. I'm probably in for 20.
But yeah, I mean, it's like, look, like it's not because of a Facebook ad. I don't even think they
Mm-mm.
send email campaigns. Like I'm pretty sure they don't have like an email campaign like
No.
a massive one at least, right? But it's because like and they built that brand around quality, what we think is quality, and we're happy to pay them $100 more every single year. It's like, oh, we're so happy that it's only $100 more expensive and not like $300 more expensive, right?
It's funny you
And
mentioned
that's a
that
brand.
because at Ringba, and I know you're not in calls, but at Ringba, we have the largest market share in the performance marketing industry. Like I can say that with the utmost confidence. It's
Mm-hmm.
like the significant majority, and we
Uh-huh.
charge more than everybody else. And the reason people work with us is because we help them make more money than anyone else. We provide better service. We have a better product. Like we invest more in our business and the success of it, which means we're investing in their success. And like some people don't vibe with that. Like they prefer Dollar General, but I find that the more serious people, they want to work or with a company or buy products from a company that they know is just super passionate about those products and
Yep.
making them better and servicing their customers. And
Yep.
I'm really glad you mentioned that because it's so important.
Adam, how do
I gotta check you
you
guys out. Yeah.
Adam, how do you determine your pricing? Like, because I would say at this point, you guys are kind of pricing proof, but there's got to be a price where people are like, no, I'm not paying that. So, like, where does the equation kind of come out
Well,
in your head?
you need to look at it like this. So I think the biggest thing that we work on, or we've overcome this, but if you look at call tracking as an expense, then you're going to be like, why am I paying these assholes more money when I can use this other platform and pay less? But if you look at it as a profit center, then who gives a shit about the per minute rate? If I spend $1,000 with Ringba and I make an extra $10,000 because I used Ringba versus another platform, then like who gives a shit about the $250 extra that I paid Ringba versus using a different platform, right?
Let me give
And
you an
that's
example of this.
perfect.
So we're putting out some new technology for our real-time bidding clients, probably next week. It was supposed to go out this week, but we ran into an issue. And this adjustment is we're adjusting the predictive routing algorithm and the way we determine where a call goes, how it's routed, and what happens in certain scenarios. Okay, it's super complex, super highly technical, and it's really a pain in the ass. But when that goes out, we've already run the math on what will happen. How many more phone calls will get connected, and how many of those phone calls will actually result in conversion events. And a conversion event is when our clients make money. And we already know that for our real-time bidding clients over the next 12 months, they will make they will have a minimum increase across the portfolio of clients of $50 million in additional revenue. That's one feature push. So if you look back over the last year on what we have improved and how we've improved it, it's very likely that we have made our clients hundreds of millions of additional dollars in revenue that they wouldn't have had before by working with us. And we didn't charge for any of that. Like, that's just what we do. And so the proof is in the pudding. And in our business, it's really different because if you don't work with the best, then Ringba customers will just simply outperform you, and you might be saving a little bit of money, but when our algorithms outperform how everyone else works, it
Cost becomes irrelevant.
Yeah, you can't even see how much money you're losing at that point. So it's really a weird mindset. And I use the Dollar General joke because I know a lot of the people who don't work with us. And yeah, I mean, their head's in a different place, right? Like they don't vibe with me. It's funny, I was writing something the other day and I thought to myself, I'm not fun to hang out with. People don't hang out with me because I'm fun. Like, no one has fun with me. People hang out with me because I try my best to bring out better versions of people that are in my orbit so they can be more successful, right? Like, that's why people hang out. So, people don't use Ringba because they care about what it costs. People use Ringba because they want high performance and they want the additional brain power added to their business. And I think in business, when you have that mindset, you're like, I want to work with the best because I want to be the best, because I want to see what I'm capable of. You could just do really, really amazing shit. And Dayu here, I don't even know him. We just met. I could see the look on his face. He vibes with what I'm saying right now.
Yeah.
He does. Yeah. Why? Because he's a high performance individual that wants to do big shit, right?
Yep.
And so there's really two camps in this. And so, Josh, I don't think it matters what we charge. The people who want to work with us because they know, they don't care. Like it just doesn't even matter to them what we charge. I think I know that may sound crazy, but I think that's really the truth. When I talk to some of our biggest customers, they're like, why does that even matter? They're like, Adam, I don't care. You want to charge me more? Great. Make me more money. Like, sure.
Well, I think it comes down to trust, right? Everybody who works with you trusts you, and they know if you're increasing the price, it's for a good reason that's only going to benefit them in the long run.
Yeah. So benefit, by the way, like I went to business school, so I went all through like the marketing sales classes, but I think a lot of that is artificial.
I'm so sorry. Are you okay?
Sorry?
I, I'm I'm so sorry, like that you had to go through that. Like, are you okay?
Oh,
Like,
yeah. No, I'm fine. I'm fine. I'm glad. I'm glad I learned the textbook
Sorry,
version,
we
which I
didn't go to
probably.
college. Adam did my high school homework.
Hey,
This is who you're dealing
but
with.
you know
That's
what?
all
You
right.
know
I
what?
went to college, Dayu. I was a marketing major myself,
It's
so I feel you.
it was useful to learn the wrong way of doing things so I could not do it, right? But however, I mean, look, my view on just marketing or just selling in general is the best way to sell is to make someone want to buy. It's like the other way around, right? And it goes to value. Like, how do you provide unquestionable value? So it's not just about a simple, like, look, logistics. Typically speaking, logistics is all about cost. Like normally just trying to minimize your costs. Logistics usually is a cost center. However, so for example, like as we speak with potential brands who might have US fulfillment and they're thinking, oh, like how can you save us money? How can you? And it was like, no, let's not talk about that. Like, what are you doing about the UK? What are you doing about the EU? Like, you're not shipping there, and I know why, because you can't ship there profitably, right? Let me tell you how you can like increase your sales by like 40% in 3 months, just like that. You can literally tackle every single one of these markets, especially the English speaking ones. And we've seen it happen over and over again, by the way. Like clients who are focused on one market scaling to other markets and get 10, 20, 30, 40% growth by almost doing nothing except just getting their goods to our warehouse and shipping it into markets that they weren't able to. So that's like unquestionable value. That's not about saving them money. It's about expanding and like making them more money, right?
and I think that's being a better service provider or vendor because it's not being a service provider or vendor,
Yeah.
being a partner. It's
Hmm.
saying like, if I call you as your customer, can you help me with strategy or growth in a way that I didn't understand fully before? And
Hmm.
if the answer to that question is yes, then you're my business partner. You're not my vendor. And, we think about this in exactly the same way. I don't want to be someone's vendor. Like, we're not a software provider or call tracking provider. We're a
Yep.
partner in our client's business. And we actually bill our clients in a way, just like you, that if they grow, we make more money. And if they shrink, we make less money. And I think that incentive alignment is really cool because it forces us to care in a really different way. And it forces us to perform for our customers in a really different way. So I really love what you said there. And I think if you want to do business with people and have vendors, you really need to find vendors that are like that think like we do, because
Yep.
they're going to help you grow your business.
Yep. It's more fun. Hey, it's like it's a better reason to wake up than just to make more money.
Yeah, exactly.
Dayu, I just got one or two more questions before we let you get
Sure.
out of here, and I appreciate you going extra long with us today. I want to
Of
go
course.
back to you mentioned the Thai influencer and the
Yep.
pre-orders and how it worked really well for her. Why would anyone not do a pre-order? I mean, it makes so much sense to me. There's like,
Yeah.
you're taking all the risk out of the equation. Are there any negatives attached to that marketing strategy or that sales tactic per se?
Well, it works a lot better when you have an existing brand, obviously. So it's like, okay, like if you are a brand and you're launching a new product line, right? Then it makes a lot of sense. You're trusted already. And especially, well, one of the main challenges is then you have if you have to wait. So this was actually a very common issue with crowdfunding, Kickstarters. where you get a lot of crowdfunding, and then a lot of especially newer campaigns or people running campaigns, they didn't realize how long stuff takes, like not just production, but then you got to get it to the US. And that takes a while, and that's where you start to, okay, you plan for a 1 month pre-order and shoot, it gets delayed to 2 months, 3 months, and then your customers are actually gonna get unhappy, right? So having like a brand to build off of or something to build off of is actually really important. And actually, I was very intrigued by this when she brought it up, is because we actually have another client. And by the way, this is potentially another opportunity for folks out there, is there's agencies out there these days that actually work with influencers, creators, YouTubers to create custom products for them. By custom, mostly it's just some product with their branding on it, but it has like the creator's weight behind it. And we actually ran one of those projects, and they did a pre-order hype campaign, whatever. They sold 60,000 units in 20 minutes. And then we had to ship that like over 3 days from China. But I mean, that's like the power of like just being like utilize. Well, first of all, there's the power of influencers in doing something like this. And then there's also the power to be able to say, okay, like actually they sold it before their production was even ready. So they were kind of sending us 10,000 unit batches for us to send every day. Whereas like if they did not do that, they would have had to wait like 2, 3 months for that to get to the US in the first place. One thing about influencers, if those who ever work with them, I'm sure a lot of you, like they tend to be impatient. They're not really business minded. So like, you have to kind of work with them. And they're not going to understand all the operational reasons why, hey, why, like I'm ready. Why is this taking 2 months longer? Right.
Yeah, and you mentioned the importance of, branding, trust. We talked about Apple, Ringba, right? I'm
Hmm.
sure Ecom Ops as well. But on the flip side, when it comes to the actual e-commerce store
Hmm.
itself, do you have any tips in terms of the best setup or flow to get those sales for anyone who's, getting ready to open their own e-commerce store and could kind of take some of this to their application?
So think about funnels and think deeper, but also broader. Think omni-channel as well. Okay. So the traditional method of like building like a Shopify store in like 5 hours, which you can literally do and just run traffic to it, like that is so competitive these days that like I think it's very, very difficult to run that model unless like you're Kylie Jenner. Like Kylie Jenner has one of the biggest Shopify stores, but she doesn't need funnels. Like she just talks about her brand and people just buy from her store. Like, but you're not Kylie Jenner, right? You just don't have that natural organic traffic. So these days, like if you're really running traffic, I mean, I'm seeing deeper and deeper funnels. You have to use the right tools as well. I would seriously suggest anyone out there to like probably avoid Shopify as your core, because Shopify, a big problem with Shopify is their checkout. It's Stripe. Stripe hates stuff like subscriptions. They hate stuff like complicated upsells, complicated downsells, like just all the fun funnel like optimization kind of stuff, right? Um, some of our clients use Funnelish. There's also a newer player that I really like called 29X that we actually use.
Those
They're
guys
actually
are
working with a
fun.
lot of yeah. I guess you heard of them.
Yeah,
Um,
they're cool guys.
yeah. So they come from the traffic days. They come from the big traffic days, so they know what they're doing. They're like just optimized around optimal funnels. So that's one part of it. Think about funnels, build deeper funnels, optimize for purchase, and not just a storefront. Your funnel goes far beyond just your ad. So don't just think about it's just your creative. That's like one important part of it. Omni-channel is more and more important these days as well. So people are going to ask, you have this website, why aren't you on Amazon? Like, or actually, like half the people who look at your product, they're going to search on Amazon anyways. They're going to Google for it. And if your brand is on Amazon, that's going to be the first or second result anyways. So not necessarily Amazon is like, especially FBA is a super attractive sales channel. But if you have a D2C e-commerce brand that's actually doing well and your brand name is getting out there, then you're leaving a lot of money on the table if you don't get on Amazon. What a lot of our clients do is that they get a branded Amazon page listing. Like they send like 200 units to FBA, and then they actually use FBM. By the way, I'm not sure if you guys know, you guys ship FBM fulfilled by merchants from China now these days. So
Is Amazon okay with that, or is it like kind of a gray area thing?
yeah, they are now these days actually. So there was a
That's
story
crazy
there.
because back in the day, like
Yeah.
10, 12 years ago, like I'm pretty sure I got banned from Amazon and I didn't even do anything wrong. They just didn't like that I wasn't using FBA.
There was a period where a lot of Chinese Amazon sellers, they were misrepresenting their China shipping as US shipping. Because even for China shipping, you could just get the USPS number like 3 days later. And they're just like uploading that. Oh, I'm like just shipping from the US. And then you know what happened? COVID. COVID happened and a lot of these
Amazon
packages
was
got
like,
delayed.
fine.
No, but Amazon was like, wait a minute, these are obviously not these are obviously not from the US. Like, why is this taking like 2 weeks to get an update, right? So they killed a lot of like tons of businesses went under in China. However, I'm not sure it was Amazon or our couriers, like they basically struck a deal or say, okay, no bullshit anymore. Like, this is the China courier. Let's just get this approved in your system. So now you can actually, there's approved China couriers that we use that you can actually use for FBM. And a lot of our clients do it. I mean, they don't get tons of volume FBM, but that's not the point, right? You get the like FBA listing first. Now you run out of stock in FBA, but then the FBM listing is still there. It's going to say it's going to take 1 or 2 weeks, but you know what stays? Your listing, your 4.5-star reviews, and your price
Just
validation.
loses the like Prime logo or whatever for shipping or
Exactly.
whatever, right?
Exactly. But then someone searches for your brand on Google. Oh, you're on Amazon. Oh, it's the same price. Oh, but then actually it's even faster to ship from your store. So I'm going to buy from your store anyways, right? Some people just want to buy from Amazon, right? And like essentially now one annoying thing is that like you can't track that return on ad spend as easily. Like you're going to have like some customers trickle to Amazon sales and you can't track that exactly on your Facebook ad spend. But like certainly like it's a situation where we definitely, I saw it for my own brand as well. It's like I was getting like 2x ROAS like before Amazon. We launched on Amazon. We were getting like 1.8, 1.5x ROAS because a lot of it's trickling away to Amazon. But if you blend it all together, we're getting 2.5, 3x blended all together. So obviously that traffic is driving to Amazon as well. So it does make like tracking a little bit more difficult. However, like if you're building a brand, like I mean, look, any brand out there, they have multiple outlets, right? Like they have physical stores, and you don't need to do that. However, more omnichannel builds trust, especially if you have like social proof, right? More just simple, especially storefronts with nothing else, like you're just not gonna hit the same kind of traction. You're not gonna build that long-term brand with just a single Shopify store and some like YouTube reviews, right?
Makes sense.
Dayu, well, if we go over time, it's because we either had amazing content or Harrison talked too much about Trinidad and Tobago, and we were able to do both on this episode. Thank you so much for coming on the Affiliate Marketing Show. For myself, Josh from OfferVault.com, Mr. Paper Call Adam Young, the industry legend Harrison Gevirtz, as well as our special guest Dayu Yang, CEO of Ecom Ops. Let's make that paper. Let's make that dough. This was the Affiliate Marketing Show. We will see you next time.